Welcome to the Big Movement Podcast. If you're ready to create results and make huge strides in your business, finances, personal development, and health, then you're in the right place. Pushing past excuses and powering through procrastination can be a challenge alone. Here, you'll get the support, tools, and knowledge you need to get to the level you desire in your business and life. Let's get started with your host, Byron Ingram.
And welcome to another episode of the podcast. Today, we're going to talk about the truth about the entrepreneur hustle. One of the most common themes seen online today is the portrayal by entrepreneurs as to what success looks like. You know, the fancy cars, the big houses, you know, the videos filmed on yachts, etc., etc. These things that are to portray this sense of wealth and prosperity. But here's the reality. So many of the people that do this, they're traveling to a location to do these photo shoots, to rent things, because they want to show you, like, well, this is the level of success it is. But is it really success, or is it just renting it to try to attract more people? Because when we are portraying ourselves, we have to be realistic. We have to be authentic. We've gone from the days where only people cared about this image factor to, well, are you authentic? Are you who you say you are? Or are you just trying to paint this picture just to get my money? But here's the thing, this happens more than you think. When you look at the ads you see on Facebook, people showing, oh, there's this lavish lifestyle. But what people crave is authenticity. They want to see behind the scenes. You know, it's kind of like, why do people like to watch the blooper reels from movies and so forth? They want to see, well, what are these actors really like when they mess up a line? They show that they're real people. So like they shot everything in one shot. You know, I hear from someone that says, oh yeah, that took 20 takes to get it right. And we have to be okay with this notion that success is not perfect. Because somewhere along the way, in this journey of life that we're all in, someone decided that the concept of success is only associated with possessing a large amount of material things, like I was saying, in terms of boats and big houses, fancy cars, and so forth. Now, let me get this straight. There's nothing wrong with having, nice things. I think everyone wants to have them. But it can create a false perception of success that damages the market and ultimately the reputation of the individual if this is what you're defining it as. Because so many people, when it comes down to success, what they're really wanting is to have time with their family and friends, because it's something that you can't take away. Think about in the past week here, as we're recording this in the first part of September in 2017, the Hurricane Harvey that hit. And it just decimated Houston. Think about the number of people that once their neighborhood, comes from being from underwater, everything they have is gone. So when you think about success, if it's all washed away, is it really the same thing? Or is success something when you can be able to make a couple phone calls, and then you can be able to gather, supplies to help people that are in need? You have to redefine what does success look like. This is not always about how much money you can spend on something. It's about ultimately the people's lives that you can impact. Because more and more today, people want to connect with influencers that are real and authentic and not showing this unsustainable lifestyle. Because let's face it, this whole notion, you have to work every single day of the week, 24/7. Well, for starters, you need to do things like sleep and eat. And unless you want to turn into like this Jabba the Hutt looking things, you need to work out too. So you're not going to be doing just working all the time. If you have a family and kids, unless you want to end up being divorced, you are going to be spending time with them as well. So that's why it's not realistic to be working 24/7. Now, granted, if you're launching a business and getting it off the ground, you might have to, put in, a week or two where you're just working, 7 days a week, 10, 15 hours a day to just make something happen. But you're not doing it for an extended period of time. You realize that, hey, this is that short-term sacrifice. And that's what you have to realize. There's a difference between a short-term sacrifice and this long-term unsustainable behavior that you will see out there. Because what this does is it sends the wrong message. That if you don't work hard, you're not going to achieve it. Well, then if someone is not doing that, that's going to make them feel less than where they should be in life. And that's not the case, because when you're working hard towards something, you're making that forward progress. That's what you have to be doing, is establishing this is what you're going to be doing, and you're going to do whatever it takes to get there, but you're not going to sacrifice your morals. You're not going to sacrifice your family, your friends to achieve this unrealistic definition of what success looks like. Because in the long-term pursuit of success, you have to focus on building all areas of your life. And that includes both work and family and friends and your health. Because if you don't work on them all, guess what happens? It falls apart. Think of the number of people that they subscribe to this, oh, you just got to work 24/7. Well, here's what happens. They're working all the time. Their family doesn't know them, so they end up divorced. The only thing they have is their job, and then they don't take care of their health. Next thing you know, they're in the doctor's office saying, oh, you have a heart condition, you have this and this and this, because they were only focused on one area in life. And that's what we have to do. We have to focus on all areas of our life if we're really wanting to create a high level of success, because you have to treat it like a wheel. And each component of your life is a segment of that wheel. And if it's not balanced out, well, guess what happens? It is the rockiest ride ever. Think about when you're in a car, and what happens to when you're driving and you get a flat tire. Does the car still perform the same way? No. But that's what happens when you're trying to hustle too much and you're forgetting the other areas of life. You get that flat tire in life, and then it becomes much more difficult to steer. The problem is, so many times we become numb to the way it's operating. So you just think, oh, this is just normal. It shouldn't be normal that way. You have to break free of that pattern. So you see, this is why the game of being online, how you market, is changing. Because now more than ever, people want to see, they want to connect with someone who's authentic. They want to know that you're not working all the time. They want to have a glimpse into your life. Like, what the heck do you do besides work? Because look at the number of people. If you look at their Facebook pages, their personal profiles, all they talk about is, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. But are they living life, or are they just attached to a desk? Because it's so easy to be working all the time, and then you wake up and realize, oh crap, another year went by, a decade went by, and you're still in the same place because you forgot about the things that are important. That's building the relationships. Because when you look at a high-level success, that's what you're truly measured by. It's the number of people you're able to influence in a positive way. Look at the number of people who can call you and say, hey, can you help me out with this? And you can make things happen because you have a network of people you can tap into, not in a way that you're abusing relationships, but a way that is collaborative, that you can make things happen because you have a collective goal in mind, because you're changing things up. It's no longer just about material things. You're focusing on how can you build more and more relationships, because that's the true level of influence. But to be more authentic, it just means giving people a bigger glimpse in your life. It doesn't mean that you're sharing everything, because let's face it, some people share a little too much. Like, okay, let's just draw the line right there and not share that one component of your life. But you must be willing to let people in. Let them see your home. Let them see, like, when you're not all dressed up, you're walking around in shorts and a t-shirt. You're having a pajama day. You're having a Netflix day or whatever. Let people see that, to let people know that it's okay to do these things. It's not just you have to work all the time, because you need to have the rewards for putting in a good days worth of work, because that makes a difference. But here's the most important thing above all else. People want to connect with those who are leaders. So you have to ask yourself something simple. What is the type of person that you would follow? And then ask yourself, what do you need to do to become that person? Because if you're not that person today, start taking actions to become them. Because when we stop trying to be like somebody else, who they might be successful at it, but they'll have their flaws. You've been working your whole life at being you. Just build upon it. How do you become a better version of yourself? Because leaders are authentic every single day. Like I was saying, they're going to show people the ups, the downs, the Netflix days, you name it. They're going to let people see it. And they're going to show up regardless. Let people know that they're going to do the best they can, because that's all anybody can do is give their best. You can't give more than what you have, because if someone says, well, you can give more, well, that means that you weren't giving it all. So when you show up, you have to be 100% committed to what you're doing. Be focused. Give what you have inside to that cause. And then when you're with your family, be present with them. Don't be thinking, well, I need to do this thing with work, because pretty soon they start thinking, well, maybe we should do stuff without you. Before you know it, your family's not there. So it is establishing those expectations that you're going to be working on all areas of your life. And it's not just hustling to make work, well, work. And does that mean that you're going to accept subpar results? No, of course not. What it means is that you're going to be focused. You're going to look at how can you create systems to leverage talent, the people of others, so you can achieve that high level success without sacrificing, your humanity in the process. Because remember, each and every one of us is human, and we all have limits. You can't work 24/7. There's no way to do it. And if you think that it is realistic, just take a look at high-stress jobs. Here's a great example. Look at airline pilots. Before they can fly, get up in the morning and fly their routes, there's a mandatory rest period they have to go through. They can't just I just pulled an 18-hour day and get 2 hours of sleep and jump on another plane. Oh, no, they can't do it. So take a look at that. These are people who are being trusted with hundreds of lives, and they have mandatory rest before they get in the cockpit. So take that for what it's worth and decide, how do you rest? How do you recharge yourself? So when you have to show up and other people's lives are in your hands, you're doing your best job. You're giving it everything you can to make sure that you take those people who you're responsible for from where they are, from the start of their journey to their destination. And remember, if you're only working, you're not really living. And we're meant to live life, not just work away. Because if we just work away, we're going to look back and say, I wish I would have done that. And that's the one thing you don't want to have happen in life. So do me a favor. Go ahead and share this episode out there, because there's someone who needs to hear this that is stuck on this mindset of constantly hustling 24/7. Realize they need to start living life on their terms and not according to the definition of someone else.
Thanks for listening to the Big Movement Podcast today. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Now that you've surely been inspired to take your entrepreneurial career and business to the next level, you can stop by the website and get more. And if you're ready to boost your business brand, be sure to grab your free report, 7 Easy Steps to Build Your Brand Today.